Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, all. In previous class, we have seen up to properties of cathode rays and anode rays. 8 properties we have seen. Okay. Ninth property, what did I inform? That is, E-beam ratio of cathode rays is independent of nature of gas taken and discharged to. That is for cathode rays. Next, coming to anode rays, E-beam ratio of anode rays is dependent on nature of gas taken and discharged to. Okay. For that, I told I will give clarity in next class. Actually, in previous video I uploaded by mistake, it was happened with music mode. So it was mistake happened. No? Now once again I am going to teach this one. Let us see how we can say that ninth point separately, because 8 points are very clear for you. What are the properties for cathode rays and what are the properties for anode rays? Okay. Now let us mention that ninth point here. For understanding this ninth point, okay, we will see two different gases. Let us consider discharge tube experiment once again. Here, this left side, it is connected to cathode, negative charge. Right side, it is connected to positive charge. This is behaving as cathode and this is behaving as anode. Same here also, this is connected to negative terminal of the battery and this right side metal plate is connected to positive terminal of the battery. This is behaving as cathode and this is behaving as anode. Here the pressure 0.0001 mm of Hg. Here the pressure 0.0001 mm of Hg, and here 11,000 volts, very high voltage. Here 11,000 volts. Okay, these conditions already you know at the time of discovery of cathode rays and anode rays we have seen. Okay, now in first discharge tube I took hydrogen gas, and in second discharge tube I took sodium gas. Okay, hydrogen gas and sodium gas. You can ask me immediately, sodium is a solid, sir, how we can take it in gas? No problem. If you heat that one, first it will be converted to liquid. Again, if you heat that one at its boiling point, it will be converted to gas. Okay, the sodium gas we are going to take here and hydrogen gas we are going to take here. Is it clear, man? Now, so many particles, so many atoms of hydrogen are present here. Here also, so many atoms of sodium are present here. Okay, clear. Now, for understanding purpose, to understand this ninth point, I considered only one atom of hydrogen. Only one atom of hydrogen. Here also, I considered only one atom of sodium. Please don't don't be mistaken that here only one atom of hydrogen will be present and only one atom of sodium will be present. I can draw sodium to so many atoms of hydrogen, but small atoms we will write that clearly structure it is not clear. Here also so many atoms of sodium are present. Okay, with respect to one sodium atom I am explaining. Is it clear? Now this hydrogen gas contains hydrogen atom. This hydrogen atom contains positive charge at the center and electron, only one electron. Hydrogen has this positive charge is because of one proton. This positive charge is because of one proton, and electron, one electron is present like this. Okay, now coming to sodium gas, this positive charge contains 11 protons more. This positive charge contains 11 protons. First orbit has 2 electrons. Second orbit has 8 electrons. Third orbit has 1 electron. Observe the structure of hydrogen atom and sodium atom. This is not completely actually how it is that shell wise, that means how that electron is present around the positive charge, and in sodium atom also how that 11 electrons are present in different orbits around that 11 protons. Everything you will come to know in atomic models. Next coming theories you will come to know. That is not a problem here. Just you have to concentrate on that 9 point. For understanding that, I am explaining all these things now. Okay, actually these structures, everything you will understand in next coming classes. No problem at all. Myself I will teach for you. Okay, now this is structure of one sodium atom and this is structure of one hydrogen atom. Now at once if you switch on the battery, what is going to be happen? This electrical energy is transformed up to cathode and this is going to hit the electron, one electron. By that one electron is coming out. Okay, from one hydrogen atom, one electron came out. Correct or not? That electron which is coming out, it is appeared as traveling from cathode to anode. Cathode to anode. So cathode rays. Those are cathode rays only. This is one atom only. Like that, so many atoms are there. From each atom, we will get one electron. Those are traveling from cathode to anode. That is called cathode rays. Now, cathode rays from hydrogen atom. Cathode ray from one hydrogen atom contains one electron. Cathode ray from one hydrogen atom contains one electron. Okay, clear. Now coming to sodium gas. Okay, at once if you switch on the battery, this is going to be here reaching and finally this is going to hit the outer electron. One electron which is present outside, that is going to be hit. Okay, then that electron comes out. You have to remember one point, that is the voltage whatever we are giving here, that voltage is required to remove this electron only. Further inner electrons are not going to be disturbed because these are all present inner, very inner. Okay, 8 to 11 like this, these are all present inner side. What is the electron which is present outside? It is going to absorb the energy easily and it is going to be coming out. Okay, ma? Are you clear now? Now, the point under sodium gas is cathode ray from one sodium atom contains one electron only. Because one electron only, one sodium atom. If 10 sodium atoms are there, we will get 10 electrons. Those are traveling from cathode to anode. Here 10 hydrogen atoms are there. Okay, it will be contained by 10 electrons traveling from cathode to anode. So whatever the cathode ray if you take by using hydrogen gas or sodium gas contains particles, electrons only. Now coming to anode rays. Okay, coming to this anode rays, observe clearly all of you. Now after the removal of this electron, at once the electron is coming out, what is the remaining part? Remaining part is positive charge. Correct? That positive charge will be attracted towards negative charge. That is nothing but anode ray. Correct? Anode ray of hydrogen gas. Anode ray of hydrogen gas contains one atom only. So now I am writing anode ray from one H atom. Anode ray means they are traveling from anode to cathode. Okay, from one H atom contains one proton. Correct. Is it clear? Now coming to anode rays with sodium gas. Okay, anode ray from one sodium atom. Anode ray from one sodium atom. Observe, one electron is removed. Remaining part, after the removal of this one electron, okay, remaining part contains 10 electrons and 11 protons. 10 electrons and 11 protons. Okay, 10 electrons charge minus 10, 11 protons charge plus 11. Total it is plus 1 only. Total it is plus 1. But that plus 1 particle, Na plus particle, that is Na plus particle, contains 10 electrons and 11 protons. This total particle is attracted towards negative charge, that is called anode ray. This total particle after removal of electron, it is attracted towards cathode, that is called anode ray from sodium gas. Correct? Anode ray from sodium gas. That anode ray from sodium gas, one sodium atom, contains 10 electrons and 11 protons. But anode ray from one H atom contains 1 proton. But cathode ray from one H atom contains 1 electron. Cathode ray from one sodium atom contains 1 electron. Okay. Now coming to H atom, E by M ratio of 1 electron. Coming to sodium atom, E by M ratio of 1 electron. Same only for cathode rays. If you take hydrogen gas or sodium gas, E by M ratio is same only, because both are electrons only. Here this is 1 electron and here also 1 electron. So E by M ratio if you calculate here and E by M ratio if you calculate here, both are same. That's why I told the point, 9th point, E by M ratio of cathode rays, E by M ratio of cathode rays is independent of nature of gas taken in the discharge tube. Whatever the gas is taken, that is hydrogen gas or sodium gas or magnesium, whatever the gas if you take, whatever it might be, cathode rays E by M ratio, they are emitted with 1 electron only, because our energy whatever we are giving, potential, high potential, that is required to remove 1 electron from the atom. That's why all the cathode rays regarding any sort of gas, okay, they will be emitted with 1 electron only. So E by M ratio is not at all different for whatever the cathode rays if you take. By taking any gas, E by M ratio is same. That's why that point came as E by M ratio of cathode rays is independent of nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Whatever the gas is taken, that is hydrogen gas or sodium gas or magnesium, whatever it might be, cathode rays E by M ratio is same only. But anode rays, observe, anode ray from one H atom contains 1 proton. Anode ray from one sodium atom contains 10 electrons, 11 protons. Here this is 1 proton, here 10 electrons, 11 proton. Are they same? Mass is not same. When mass is not same, E by M ratio is not same. Then these two, this is E by M ratio of 1 proton, this is E by M ratio of 10 electrons and 11 protons. Both are not same. So if you change the gas, anode rays E by M ratio will be differed. E by M ratio of hydrogen anode ray is different from E by M ratio of sodium anode ray. E by M ratio of hydrogen anode ray is different from E by M ratio of sodium anode ray. That's why we can tell that point E by M ratio of anode rays is dependent on nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Okay, coming on to cathode rays, I told the point E by M ratio of cathode rays is independent of nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Whatever the gas is taken, E by M ratio is same. But coming to anode rays, according to gas, E by M ratio is getting differed. That's why this much explanation I give. Okay, ma? So at that time I am writing the heading also. Discovery of anode rays I told. In bracket I did not keep protons. Correct? Is it correct, ma? I kept the heading discovery of anode rays only. I kept the heading discovery of anode rays. I did not keep in bracket protons, because anode rays, if you take hydrogen gas, then only it is proton. Proton comes out. Otherwise, if you take any other gas, that anode rays do not contain proton, it is contained by like this electrons and proton also, but totally positive charge only, because one electron is removed, remaining part is definitely contained by positive charge, but that positive charge is not one proton. It is because of 10 electrons 11 protons in sodium gas, okay, 12 protons and 11 electrons in magnesium gas, 1 electron less. Are you able to understand, everyone? Is it clear? Okay, that's why I did not keep the heading discovery of anode rays in bracket protons. Simply anode rays are positive rays. Simply anode rays are positive rays, because they are traveling from anode to cathode. As they are traveling towards cathode, definitely they are attracted towards cathode, na? So they are positive rays. But that positive rays, whatever the gas if you take, they are not contained by protons. Only proton if you contains, okay, but they are not contained by only protons. If you take hydrogen gas only, you will cut, that is discovery of protons. Otherwise, if you take any other gas, that is not coming as discovery of protons. It is simply discovery of anode rays. But coming to cathode rays, whatever the gas if you take, that is simply called discovery of cathode rays in bracket electrons, because from each atom one electron is coming out. Okay, are you clear about this 9th point, everyone? Observe the diagram, all of you. Okay, then now we will see how this E by M ratio is going to be calculated. Okay, I hope you are clear about this 9th point. So by this, just I will conclude one small point, that is, first we started with discovery of cathode rays. After that, properties of cathode rays we completed, 8 properties. Next, discovery of anode rays, 8 properties of anode rays were completed. But just relatively, both of them have 9th point. Okay, that 9th point explanation now I completed. By this, properties of cathode rays and properties of anode rays both are completed. Okay, next we will go through how this E by M ratio is going to be calculated. Okay, ma? Okay, see, calculation of E by M ratio, it was calculated by J. Thomson by using one separate equipment. That equipment I am going to draw that one. Let us see. Like this equipment. Please don't think that this is two-dimensional. It is a three-dimensional figure in which this is glass tube, totally glass tube. Like this, it will be everywhere. Okay, this is cylindrical, cone shape. It is like cone shape. You can imagine funnel is there, na? Funnel. Funnel contains, this is open end, but this is also closed with glass. Is it okay, ma? Inside it was coated with zinc sulfide screen. This layer, actually, this surface, inside surface, it is coated with zinc sulfide screen. Zinc sulfide screen is used to identify charged particles dots. Whether they are falling on that zinc sulfide screen or not, we can identify. Okay, this is equipment. Now it is fitted with here metal plate, which is connected to negative terminal of the battery. Next, here I kept one metal plate which is connected to positive terminal of the battery. This is cathode and this is anode. But the thing is, here they kept one hold anode like this. See, if you see this disc, this is like this, one hole is there. Actually it is seen like this. See, this is appeared like this, now I kept like this, containing one small hole. Is it okay? This is the equipment. At the same time, here scientists applied This is electric field, and this is magnetic field. By seeing that electric field and magnetic field, you will be confused because this is in plane I have drawn. Okay, how this magnetic field and electric field are applied? Those are perpendicular to each other actually. Those are perpendicular to each other. Observe. This is the tube. Okay, ma. This tube contains electric field. This is from above positive charged plate, like this. This is from below negative charged plate. Okay, electric field will be passing from positive charge to negative charge. So what is the direction? From above to below. What is the direction of electric field? From above to below, like this. This is positive charge. This is negative charge, from above to below, like this. Is it clear? Now, what about magnetic field? Magnetic field, I kept north pole here, above the plane for you. Okay, and south pole here, back side. Like this I kept horseshoe magnet. North pole here and south pole here. Magnetic field will be from north pole to south pole. Electric field will be from positive plate to negative plate. Like that, magnetic field will be from north pole to south pole. So north pole is front side, south pole is back side. So what is the direction of magnetic field? This is the direction of magnetic field. This is the direction of electric field. Okay, ma? Both are perpendicular to each other. This is and this one. Both are angled with 90 degrees. Like this it is applied. Actually this is 3-dimensional. It is not possible to show on board. That's why I have drawn like this. This is north pole. Imagine this north pole is here, ma? South pole is inside the board. Then north pole to south pole, magnetic field. And this is electric field. Both are perpendicular to each other. Observe the diagram. Okay, ma? Did you observe the diagram and did you understand how that magnetic field and electric field are applied? Now let us see. At once if you switch on the battery, okay, cathode rays are generated from cathode to anode. Then the stream of particles, they are passing through anode hole, like this. They are traveling through this hole. Now scientist, he observed in 3 steps, ma. Scientist, he observed the path of cathode rays in 3 steps. Step 1, okay, he applied only electric field. He applied only electric field. Switched off the magnetic field. He applied only electric field and switched off the magnetic field. In the presence of electric field, these cathode rays are fallen on point A. Why these are deflected like this? These are cathode rays negative charged particles. No? Negative charged particles are deviated towards positive charged plate. Negative charged particles are deviated towards positive charged plate. So in the presence of electric field, they are fallen on point A. Then zinc sulfide, if you see, all the dots are present at point A in the presence of electric field. Okay, that is step 1. So scientist observed in 3 different steps. He observed the cathode rays in 3 different steps. First one, under the electric field. Next, second one. Next again he is continuing the diagram. He is continuing the experiment. Now he observed. He switched off the electric field and he switched on the magnetic field. So he applied only magnetic field. In the presence of magnetic field, these cathode rays are up to here, and they are deflected like this here, because north pole is here na, above the plane, so these are also deflected like this. Are you able to understand, ma? Actually A is here and here C. Please observe carefully. This is deflection in plane, but this is deflection above the plane, because north pole is from above to below. So magnetic field is in this direction, so these are deflected like this. I am drawing on board, it is not possible na, to draw here one point. It is not possible to keep here point. That's why I kept point here. So this is point C. This is because of application of magnetic field. Okay, third step. He applied both electric field and magnetic field. He applied both electric field and magnetic field. When both electric field and magnetic field are applied, these cathode rays are travelled without any deflection and fallen at point B. These cathode rays are travelled and fallen at point B when there is application of both electric field and magnetic field. Okay, ma? This A point is because of application of electric field. All the points at A are because of application of electric field. All the points at C are because of application of magnetic field. Actually C is not here, like this. Okay, and point B is because of application of both electric field and magnetic field. Is it clear? Now this is the experiment he concluded. From this, what are the conclusions we can make? I am going to rub this one and I am going to explain. Before that, I hope you are clear about this diagram and what are the points of A, B and C, where are the locations, all these things. You are clear, I think. Okay, shall I continue, ma? Let us see the continuation. Observe. A point is because of application of electric field. B point is because of both electric field and magnetic field. C point is because of application of magnetic field. Okay, these are happened. A point is because of electric field, I told. Actually, what is happening? Deflection of cathode rays in presence of electric field. Deflection of cathode rays in presence of magnetic field. Deflection of cathode rays in presence of both electric field and magnetic field. So important point here, that is deflection of cathode rays. Important point you have to observe, that is deflection of cathode rays. Deflection of cathode rays at point A. Deflection of cathode rays at point A is because of application of electric field. Deflection of cathode rays at point C is because of application of magnetic field. Deflection of cathode rays at point B is because of application of both electric field and magnetic field. Is it okay, ma? Now, this deflection of cathode rays is depending on two main properties. Deflection of cathode rays is depending on mainly two main properties. Those are 1, charge, and 2, mass. 1, charge, and 2, mass. Okay, when charge is deferred, means when charge is changed. Suppose this is electron. If you take proton, anode rays, that anode rays deflection is not might be at A in the presence of electric field. that might be different because it is depending on charge. If the charge is changed, deflection, angle, position might be changed. Correct or not? So deflection of cathode rays is depending on two main properties. What are those? Charge and mass. Okay, depending on this deflection and two properties, charge and mass, we are going to calculate E by M. What is meant by E? Charge, and what is meant by M? Mass. Okay, now we considered already deflections. Those deflections are depending on charge and mass. So with what angle the deflection is happened? With what angle the deflection is happened in presence of electric field? With what angle the deflection is happened in the presence of magnetic field? With what angle the deflection is happened in the presence of both magnetic field and electric field? These are all calculations done by scientist J. Thomson. That many major calculations are not required. Simply we will say one point, that is the deflections, calculations, all those things are done, and finally J. Thomson calculated E by M ratio of cathode rays, depending on deflection of cathode rays. Okay, ma? Finally J. Thomson calculated E by M ratio of cathode rays, okay, depending on deflection of cathode rays. Why? Deflection of cathode rays is depending on two main properties, na? Charge and mass. For example, let us consider how this deflection is depending on mass. Okay, two vehicles let us consider. Those two vehicles are lorry and scooter. Okay, ma? This lorry and scooter, this is scooter and this is lorry, they are going straightly. Suddenly, observe, lorry is heavy mass, scooter is light mass, less mass. Correct or not? Suddenly they got one deviation. They have to take one deviation. Okay, this lorry, what it will do? It will take long deviation, means long deflection. Scooter, small deflection, it will take and it will go. Is it correct or not? We are observing two vehicles. Those are, one is scooter and another one is lorry. Lorry is heavy mass increased. Scooter light mass. Okay, now they are going straightly. Suddenly they got one turn. According to that turn, this lorry will take big deviation. That means deflection is high. That deflection angle is high. Scooter is taking small deflection. What is the reason here? The deflection angle, what lorry and scooter is taking, that is depending on mass of the body. As well as size of the body also. Both are same only. Okay, because of heavy mass, it will take long deviation. Because of smaller mass, it will take small deviation. Correct or not? Deflection is nothing but deviation. The deflection there, it is depending on mass of the body or not. Like this here also, deflection of cathode rays is depending on two main properties, those are charge and mass. How it is depending on mass? If mass is varied, how deflection is varied? Like that. If charge is varied, deflection is going to be varied. Okay, in that way, this deflection of cathode rays study is there, na? He studied till now deflection of cathode rays. The deflection of cathode rays are giving the data about charge and mass. That's why he is able to calculate E by M ratio of cathode rays depending on deflection of cathode rays. E by M ratio of cathode rays was calculated depending on deflection of cathode rays, and he found the value. That value I am going to say, that value is E by M ratio of cathode rays is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 8 coulombs per gram. Okay, what is that? E by M ratio of cathode rays is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 8 coulombs per gram. Coulombs is the unit of charge, grams is the unit of mass. Grams is the unit of mass. 1 minute more. Ten power 11 now here. One 1.75 into 10 power 11. E by M ratio of cathode rays is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11 coulombs per gram. Okay, ma. E by M ratio of cathode rays is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11 coulombs per gram. Okay, this is calculated depending on deflection of cathode rays. Okay, in the presence of electric field as well as in the presence of magnetic field, or both in the presence of electric field and magnetic field. This is direct value. He had calculated, J. Thomson calculated all these calculations depending on the deflections, and finally he concluded this one. Okay, next point. By using Mulliken's oil drop experiment, charge on electron is given as 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. This is numerical value, direction negative. While we are calculating this negative, no need to consider. So I am going to take, by using Mulliken's oil drop experiment, charge on electron is given as 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. This charge on one electron is nothing but E only, na? E. Total E by M ratio 1.75 into 10 power 11. Okay, ma'am. These two values we know. By using these two values, we are going to calculate mass. By using those two values, we are going to calculate the mass. Okay. How we are going to calculate the mass? Let us see. Observe here only. E is equal to 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. E by M is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11 coulombs per gram. E value, substitute this E value here. Then 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 divided by M is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11. 1.602 into 10 power minus 19, this is charge we got from Mulliken's oil drop experiment, divided by mass M is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11. Bring this 1.75 into 10 power 11 here. 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 divided by 1.75 into 10 power 11 is equal to M of electron. Mass of electron. Okay, if you do this total calculation, we will get 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 one small thing ma. This 1.75 into 10 power 11 kilograms here. E-beam ratio of cathode rays is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11. Correct only. This is kilograms ma. Sorry for this. 1.75 into 10 power 11 kilograms. Okay. Now this 1.75 into 10 power 11 coulomb per kilogram, correct only. This is 1.60 into 10 power minus 19. 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 divided by 1.75 into 10 power 11. This total calculation we will get finally in kilograms. Sorry for this. Change the graphs into kilograms. Now this is okay. So finally 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kilograms is the mass of electron. Mass of electron. Observe this calculation. E-beam ratio is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11 coulombs per kilogram. Okay. 1.60 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs is the mass of electron. Sorry, charge of electron. Divided by m. M mass of electron is not possible to find because it is very small particle. Na? It is not at all possible. By using this mathematical calculations only, we can find the mass of electron. Okay, m mass of electron we don't know is equal to this total value 1.75 into 10 power 11. Next 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 divided by 1.75 into 10 power 11 I brought here. It will be coming to denominator. This m is going to this side. Cross multiplication. Okay, this m is going this side. This 1.75 into 10 power 11 will be coming here. Okay, now this 10 power 11 which is in denominator, if it goes to numerator, it will become minus 11. 10 power minus 19, 10 power minus 11, it will become 10 power minus 30. This calculation in next class I will say. No problem. This calculation what we have done in next class I will say. Now 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 divided by 1.75 into 10 power 11 is equal to mass of electron. Finally this total calculation after that we will get 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kilograms. So mass of electron is equal to 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kilograms. This is calculated from E-beam ratio of cathode rays. E-beam ratio of cathode rays. Okay. The only one thing is instead of grams write here kilograms. That is enough. Remaining everything is okay. This calculation after that what is that Mulliken's experiment, all these things in next class I will continue. Okay, this is about today's class. What is the thing we have studied today? We started with 9th point. Okay, how can we say that E-beam ratio of cathode rays is independent of discharge, nature of gas taken in discharge tube, and E-beam ratio of anode rays is dependent on nature of gas taken in discharge tube? That explanation I gave. Whatever the gas it is taken, we will get one electron from each atom. But for anode rays, whatever the gas it is taken, we will not get one proton. Depending on the gas, that anode rays will be different. That's why discovery of cathode rays in bracket we kept electrons, but discovery of anode rays in bracket we kept simply positive rays. Okay, that is conclusion we got from 9th point. Next, we started with E-beam ratio calculation. How that E-beam ratio calculation was gotten, the diagram I have drawn. It was discovered by J.A. Thomson. Depending on the deflection in presence of electric field, magnetic field, and both electric field and magnetic field, the scientist calculated E-beam ratio of cathode rays. Okay, depending on deflection of cathode rays. Okay, and we got the value as 1.75 into 10 power 11 coulombs per kilogram. By using this E-beam ratio value and charge value, this charge is obtained from Mulliken's Aldab experiment. Okay. 1.60 into 10 power minus 19. We have done the calculation and we got the mass of electron. Okay, little bit explanation. Furthermore explanation I will give in next class. And what about that Mulliken's Aldab experiment also I will teach. By that next class we will complete discovery of particles, subatomic particles. Even in next class we will go to neutron also. Okay, ma? Are you clear about today's class, everyone? Okay. So observe the class clearly, and if you have any doubts directly through WhatsApp, you can ask me, no problem. Anything I will clarify for you. Okay. Here one small thing is, initially I wrote E/m ratio is equal to 1.75 into 10 power 11 coulombs per gram. That gram change into kilogram. That is the small thing. Okay, ma? Thank you. Thank you all.